If you're a beginner drummer who has at some point felt the pressure to learn the 40 rudiments in order to master the drums, like this, then today's lesson is for you. The mainstream messaging seems to be that learning the rudiments is the secret to tasty grooves, fast hands, and overall drumming mastery because, after all, the rudiments are the building blocks of drumming, right? Wrong. Most drummers fall for the lie that rudiments are the must-learn core building blocks of drumming. But the truth is, they're the last thing that a beginner should be focusing on. This over-focus on rudiments happens because new drummers, especially those arriving from other instruments, assume that rudiments are the drumming equivalent of scales. But this isn't the case at all, unfortunately. Today we're busting this whole rudiment myth, and I'm teaching you what I believe to be the three core building blocks of drumming, where if you do these three things, you learn the instrument. Instead of practicing the rudiments, you do these three things that every beginner must focus on if they want to learn the instrument. This will be a lot of fun, and by the end of today, you're going to have so much more clarity and direction in your practice sessions, and you'll be making rapid progress and having more fun on the drums. You can do this. Hey, welcome to the Non-Glamorous Drummer. I'm so glad you're hanging out. I help self-taught beginner drummers know what to practice so that you can nail songs and be that drummer other people want to jam with and that they want to have in their band. Hey, I have a free gift for you below, a PDF e-guide that is literally your companion, your action step practice companion to today's lesson. And so if you want to really get a lot out of today's lesson and you're taking drumming seriously and you really want to learn, you really want to grow, grab the guide. It's totally free. It's a no-brainer. It is my Know What to Practice, your core 30-minute daily practice routine guide. That's literally what we're going through today, the building blocks of drumming. If rudiments shouldn't be the beginner focus, then what should be? And then we'll finally answer the question of, well, when should rudiments come in? Like, are they important? Should they be ignored? How do we use them? And so we're gonna get into all of this. But before we go any further, question for you, and I want this in the back of your head as we go. What is your drumming dream? What are you wanting to accomplish on the drums? Because that's very much going to inform what you should be practicing. What kind of music are you wanting to learn? What is your goal? Do you want to play with a band? Do you want to win the next Guitar Center drum off? Do you want to, to be that chops drummer that's touring and doing clinics? Do you want to be a gospel chops drummer? Do you want to be a singer-songwriter kind of drummer? Just be thinking about that. What is your drumming dream? What are you wanting to accomplish? We're going to circle back to that. So here's the inconvenient truth about rudiments. Let's just break this down to start off, and then we'll dive into our action steps today. The biggest inconvenient truth is that they're not building blocks. They're not the equivalent of scales. When I was in college, I majored in percussion performance, and so I was playing marimba and like mallet percussion. So if you're unfamiliar with mallet percussion, think xylophone, basically a piano, a big piano that you're hitting instead of playing with your fingers. Either way, it's a tonal instrument, and by learning your scales on those instruments, you can pretty much play anything. Like I knew, okay, if I can play my A-flat minor scale, like all these crazy wacky scales, I'm practicing all of the motions involved on the instrument so that then I can see a passage of music and be like, oh, this is in B flat. Oh, this is easy. I just play my B flat scale because it's all in B flat. And so you get comfortable in a key, and therefore you can then play whatever you want as long as you've got proper technique and all the fundamentals in place. And so with instruments like piano, bass, guitar, mallet percussion, saxophone, trombone, like you name it, instruments like that, you learn your scales, and those literally are your building blocks. It's very simple and very straightforward. And so honestly, it's very inconvenient that rudiments aren't that for drumming. It would be great if they were, and they are somewhat for concert percussion. If your goal is to play in drum corps or your goal is to play in concert band, then you're gonna play a lot of stuff like and if that's your world, a lot of what you play is a bunch of rudiments strung together. But we are drum set players. I'm guessing you were here wanting to learn from me because you are a drum set player. I can do the percussion stuff, but deep down at heart, I am a drum set player and I want to play songs well. That requires a totally different skill set. And so unfortunately, keeping that in mind, learning rudiments will not just make you a better drummer. We'll talk about when they can play their part, but when you're starting off on the drums, if you're practicing a lot of pad stuff and you're not physically getting on your drums, you're really missing out and you're going a lot slower than you could be. You really have to be careful. You can do a lot on a pad. You can make progress on a pad. I'll share with you what some of that is. But pretty soon you got to get on the kit. You got to play the drums because our building blocks are going to require that we get on the instrument. So here we go. Let's dive into the 3 most productive things to do and practice this week, every day. Here we go. Building block number 1, singles. And not just singles on your pad, but also singles moving around the kit. Now, singles are technically a rudiment, right? The first rudiment is singles. So here's something that is convenient. That makes up 99% of everything we ever play on the drums. And if you get really good at playing, so one-handed singles as we call them, right hand or left hand, alternating singles of right, left, you get really solid with that. Think about all the ways you can use that. You can keep time, you can play alternating 16th fills, you can play 99% of everything you're ever going to play just with singles. So if we're talking about what rudiments are important and are worth practicing, just that first rudiment, the first of the 40, the singles. But what's also critical here, and this is the thing where a lot of self-taught drummers miss. I know I did. I was self-taught for 2 years and grew very slowly in the 2 years. And I started taking lessons and suddenly I had a teacher, I had a method, and I grew like crazy. One of the biggest mistakes that self-taught drummers make, and it's an honest mistake because you don't know what you don't know, they're not gripping well. And so they might practice the singles, you might practice moving around the kit, you might practice doing these things, but you're having a hard time playing them well and you can't figure out why they feel so stiff or why you feel like you're flailing or why it's sloppy or why your arm's hurting. And really it's all just because of how you're gripping. This is something that I know I can't teach enough and reiterate enough, the importance of how you're gripping your sticks. And so building block number 1, before we're even playing our singles, we're talking about grip and motion. And something you can actually practice away from the kit is forming your fulcrum point between thumb, which is kind of really thumb and edge of finger like this, not pad of thumb and finger, because that'll be too stiff. Edge of thumb and middle finger, do it about right here. And then practice just, okay, is this secure? Is this a good hinge point? Can I move the stick back and forth and it stay in place? Now can I toss it up and throw it down, toss it up, throw it down? Practice doing this. This is one of those critical things that I tell my private students to practice. Usually we're looking at their grip. I'm like, oh, you know, you could probably be a little better with your fulcrum here, with your motion. A lot of times they're choking something out. And so I just tell them, hey, start every practice session or have a pair of sticks lying, you know, around your house. Pick them up every now and then and just sit here and go like this. This is powerful because if you can do this, that means you can get stick motion. That means you can get rebound from any surface, including a floor tom that's tuned low. Right? If I just rely on the floor tom's rebound, we get total dud and it doesn't work, it doesn't sound good. If we want to move around the drum set, we have to have upward motion. We have to be playing off of the drums and not into them. So that is the first fundamental thing to be practicing, your grip, your hinging motion, because then you can apply that to the kit and go. Then go to alternating singles. And so on. Do it slowly, do it a little more quickly, do it softly. Do it loudly. Make this the first building block of your practice session. So that might mean you spend, 20 minutes on this. If you have an hour-long practice session, I'd say spend your first 20 minutes on this. If you've just got a 30-minute practice session, just spend 10 on this, or dedicate, Monday to this. On every Monday, you're going to practice this, and then Tuesday, you move on to the next block. Building block number 2 are our basic grooves. So you can do a lot of different things within this building block, but fundamentally, this is just the act and the process of actually playing the drum set, like creating a beat that we might use in a song. This is the thing we've got to get really comfortable doing if we're going to play songs. This is where rudiments will really leave you hanging. You could get really good at rudiments and you can get very good with the hands. You could work on your or you could do all sorts of wacky stuff around the kit and it'd be fun and everything. But are you going to use that in a song? Probably not. And is that actually going to help you make music playing a song and playing with a band? one of the most critical skills that a drummer must have is the ability to just play a good feeling groove like this. Start off with just a basic money beat. Kick on 1, kick on 3, just like this. Play that over and over again. Do it softly. Practice doing it faster. Then do it slow and loud. Do it fast and loud. Basically all across the spectrum of time and dynamics. What you don't want is there to be a tempo hole in your practicing or a dynamics hole in your practicing. Practice all the dynamics. Practice all the tempos. So when you're doing the singles around the kit, remember, soft, loud, slow, fast. When you're doing basic grooves, soft, loud, slow, fast. But hey, here's some more grooves. These are straight out of that Know What to Practice, Your Core Practice Routine PDF guide. Go download it. You can even pull that up right now so you can follow along with me. But there's a bunch of grooves in there that you can practice, and there's a lot of different ways you can practice them, which is really cool. Here are a few of them. Groove number 1 goes like this. It's just the classic We Will Rock You groove. 1, 2, ready. Groove number 5, another cool example, goes like this. But remember, practice it softly too. And practice going faster and also keeping it soft. It's easier to play faster when you're soft. So remember, no holes in the tempo, no holes in the dynamics. Practice all volumes and as wide of a range of tempos as you can. I recommend starting at 60, working up to 90. That's a good first goalpost, basically, and then see if you can get to 120 from there. Here's another one that's kind of interesting. Groove number 7 from the guide. 1, 2, ready, go. A few extra notes there because that one's so cool with that and of 2 accent kind of feel, so you can really do a lot with that. It starts to feel very funky. There's a lot you can do with that. So that's just a few examples. There's a bunch of these grooves there in the guide, and there's different ways you can practice them, so you can make this fit your level. If you're a total brand new beginner, just get used to playing them. Like, just practice playing them, getting it nice and tight. But as you get a little more advanced, you can do things like, hey, I'm going to add the left foot hi-hat on beats 2 and 4. So going back to our groove 1, the We Will Rock You groove, we would then play this. We could also play on the ands, like. Or what if we played on the quarter notes with the left foot, but we played on the ands with the right hand? Man, that's weird, but this weird stuff, it's mind-bending, but it'll push your coordination like crazy, even though it's really simple, especially as you start applying that to more complex grooves. Like groove number 7, for instance, it's kind of weird. If you decide, hey, I'm going to play an open hat note on the and of 1 and the and of 3, like this. It's pretty funky. It's weird, but it'll really push your coordination. It's all outlined in the PDF guide, so definitely download it so that you can have access to all these grooves as well as play along recordings at different tempos. There's a bunch of grooves and a bunch of suggestions and like challenge layers, frameworks for these, because this can really grow with you. Even as you push toward advanced drummer stage, you can work on some very challenging coordination stuff, even with simple grooves. So our building block number 1 was hand technique, grip, and motion, just moving around the kit, critical. That very much carried into our building block number 2, which is grooves, building coordination through those grooves, working on time and dynamics, and we're using that grip and motion to play the grooves well. Well, now building block number 3, learn a song by ear. Now, I know that if you're a beginner, that might sound kind of daunting, but here's what I want to strongly encourage you to do. I want you to play the long game when it comes to learning songs. And what I mean by this is when it seems easier to go download sheet music for a song or, drum tabs, a transcription, you name it, for a song you're trying to learn. I know that seems easier in the short term and it might help you learn the song in the short term, but I want you playing the long game and thinking, how can I get really good at learning songs in 5 years from now? Maybe even 3 years, probably won't be that long. Let's think 3 years. Even down to like 12 months, you can make a lot of progress. Over the next few years, where do you want to be in your ability to play songs? Would you like to be able to learn a 60-song set list to play with a cover band and that 60-song set list not be daunting? It won't be if you play the long game with me. So here's what I want you to do. 2 things to do every day. This is all about the habits. If you want to get good at learning songs by ear, this really is your third building block. This is so much more important than rudiments, especially as a beginner. You've got to train your ear, know what to listen for, and get really good at learning songs because this will pay dividends in the long run, especially if you want to gig. If you want to make a living as a musician, you can absolutely do it, but you've got to be able to prepare for gigs quickly because you're not going to have days. Sometimes you don't have days. You definitely don't have weeks to prepare for gigs. Sometimes there's last-minute stuff, so you've got to be able to learn songs fast. So 2 things, 2 simple actions to take every day to help you get there. Step 1, listen to a new song 3 times through headphones. By the way, these action steps are all laid out for you. I'm literally reading off of this PDF guide that I'm pitching to you today. Go download it. It's free, total no-brainer. It's going to give you all this. I'm reading straight off of it. You can even turn off the video right now and go download the guide instead and come back to it later. Listen to a new song 3 times through headphones. So cue up a song by a band that you like. It doesn't have to be music you don't like. Listen to music you like. That way this is fun. So just pull up something from Spotify or Apple Music, wherever you get your music, as long as it's a good high-quality audio source. And then put your headphones on, listen to the song 3 times in a row. What I want you to do is see what all can you notice and pick out from that recording. So pay attention to the melody, try to learn the melody, be able to sing the song back when you're done, and then listen to the drums. How are the drums supporting or interacting with that melody? That is huge. If you get really good at doing that, you are going to be a musical drummer who plays what the song needs, who the band members love having because everything you play sounds good. You're going to record well. People are going to hire you for recording sessions, and you're going to feel so creative and spontaneous and able to improvise. This is all where it starts. Simple actions every day. Second daily action is play along to a familiar song 3 times. So pick any simple song you've heard a bunch. It could be the song you listened to 3 times yesterday, or the one you just now listened to 3 times. You can go through this, listen to a song 3 times, now play through it 3 times. Just practice playing along to it. Just spend 15 to 30 minutes working on it. You don't have to get it perfect. You don't have to play it note for note. Remember, no drum tabs, no transcriptions. I'm challenging you to that because we've got to play the long game here. If you cheat now, you're going to continue cheating and you're not going to build the long-term ear skills that you need to really master this skill and be able to learn songs fast. If you want to learn songs fast next year, be okay with it taking some time today because it's going to pay dividends, I promise you. The goal here is not to learn the song perfectly. It's simply to get a feel for playing along to a tune. Because that feeling is something, you have to just practice the feeling of playing along with the recording, which is similar to playing with people. Playing with people is going to feel different the first time you do it if you haven't done it yet. But playing along with recordings is the best way to prepare for that. And so if you want to be a good band drummer, you want to be really good at playing songs, how do you do that? By playing songs. Don't overthink it. Listen to songs, really listen carefully through headphones, listening, and then play along over and over again. Have your favorite songs that you play through all the time. Get really good at them. Have a lot of fun. Only do this with music that you like, and this will serve you well. So remember, building block number 1, grip, motion, movement around the kit. Building block number 2, groove, feel, time, dynamics, building the coordination, having fun, working on the stuff that we're going to then use in songs. Building block number 3, songs. We're training our ear. We're gaining that ability to start listening better. And the better you get at this stuff, when you do this every day, you will, the better you get at this, the faster you're able to then internalize a song and learn it and actually memorize it. And 60 song set lists are no longer as daunting. Remember, we got to think forward a year from now, 3 years from now, 10 years from now. I've been playing the drums professionally for 10 years. Yeah, so I graduated college 10 years ago, and I was playing a bunch, majoring in music for 4 years in college. And so I've been playing with people for about 16 years now. Been playing with bands for 16 years and really playing professionally for 10. And so at this point, learning songs, especially within the genres I'm comfortable with, it's pretty effortless. It can definitely be that way for you too. When you stick at this, you stick with this for the long haul, you'll get really good at this. So those are your building blocks. Now, circling back to the questions from earlier, when should you practice rudiments? Rudiments are not a bad thing, but you just have to take a step back and always look at the big picture and know your why, know what am I working on, what am I trying to get good at. I worked on the fundamentals. I got pretty good at the drums, technically speaking. Early on in lessons, I was working on jazz stuff, doing the stuff from Jim Chapin, Advanced Techniques, and Ted Reed, Syncopation, and getting into some Latin stuff and doing a lot of fun stuff like that. And so I was thinking to myself, okay, what is my next step? If I get really good at rudiments and I can play, let's see. If I can start playing some wacky stuff like that, well, maybe that will take me to the next level as a drummer. At least if I get really good at my paradiddle diddles. If I can play... Okay, maybe that'll get me there. Maybe that'll get me the next step. And so I worked on the chops. I worked on the fast stuff. And I tried to play faster and faster, and I went that route, and I worked on that, and just seeing, okay. But what I found was, oddly enough, it was this endless pursuit. I was always realizing there are all these other drummers that can do so much more than I can, who can play these paradiddle things so much cleaner than I can, and can use them in so many more ways and do so much cool stuff. And there's always going to be somebody faster. And it actually put me in this dead-end spot where I was like, I don't know how to get any better on the drums. And I honestly felt stuck. It was like, okay, I've learned all the technical stuff. I can play, I can play fast, and I can, use my fingers, and I can go and do that kind of stuff. And it was fun and all, but I was like, where do I go next? And so at that point, I was very fortunate, very blessed to be mentored for a short time by a really good drummer in town who kind of put me in my place and said, look, here's what you need to be focusing on right now. And you know what he told me? He told me these 3 building blocks that I've taught you today, especially the moving around the kit, hitting the drums in the middle, getting good sounds, playing with good time, playing with good steady dynamics, using your ear. Like this stuff I'm teaching you today that is in this core practice routine guide is what this drumming mentor taught me when I was at the end of my chops rope and realizing I can't go any faster. I've reached my technical limit here. I feel like I'm not good at it anyways, and I'll never be JoJo Mayer and these insane gospel drummers out there too. So what do I do next? And so I felt at a loss. And so when he told me these things, I started to focus on these things. I started to pay attention to my sounds. I started to pay attention to how my drums were tuned. I started to pay attention to motion, dynamics, how are things feeling? Listening to the song, listening to the melody, is this fitting? How is this feeling? And suddenly, I started getting really good feedback from people I was playing with. Band members were like, wow, Steven, you've really gotten better lately. I remember thinking, I haven't even really been practicing that much. I've been paying attention to how I hit the drums. I've been listening. I've been learning songs better, paying more attention to details in music. And people were telling me things like, wow, your dynamics are so much better. Like things really open up when they need to get big. Like you're able to make a song really epic. And somebody else told me like, hey, all I have to use is the overheads in my in-ear mix because you sound so good just in the overheads because you're balanced out. You're not hitting cymbals too hard. Like you're paying attention to how you sound. You sound very recordable. You sound like a session drummer. And at that point, I realized rudiments were not my answer. It was these 3 building blocks. So back to our question from earlier, what is your drumming dream? What do you want to accomplish on the drums? Do you want to be the next JoJo Mayer? Do you want to win the Guitar Center drum off? Do you want to have the gospel chops? Do you want to do the drum corps thing, the classical percussion concert band thing? If that's you, okay, you got to learn the rudiments. You got to do this crazy fast stuff. But if you're like me, all along, you've really just wanted to play songs, but you felt the pressure to learn all the rudiments and to learn all the chops because you were being told on YouTube that that's how you become a good drummer. I fell for the lie when I was in college that I started watching a lot of YouTube videos then that I didn't watch when I started off. And I saw what was possible. I saw what people were doing out there and thought, well, I guess that's what I got to do too. If I'm going to master the drums, this is what drumming mastery looks like. But the truth is, drumming mastery looks different for each drummer. It all depends on what you want to do. So for me, I've always loved playing in church. I've always loved playing in cover bands. I've loved playing on people's records and playing songs, creating drum parts for songs, being musical, just having a good groove. I've always aspired to play like Steve Jordan, Jeff Porcaro, Aaron Sterling, Paul Mabry. Like those are my guys. None of them, they can do the chops thing. They can play some chops, but that's never what it's all about. That's never central to their mindset when playing. Song first, melody first, groove feel first. And so this is what that's going to help you do. Because a drummer's #1 job is to play great feeling time that inspires the band and takes the song to the next level. So you just have to ask yourself, will the rudiments get you there? You can always come back to them later. Rudiments can be a fun icing on the cake thing later on. Like maybe you want to explore jazz. Yeah, you can use some rudiments there. Maybe you want to explore that wacky paradiddle thing that I didn't play very well earlier, and do weird stuff like that just for the fun of it. Sure, go for it, but make sure that that is secondary to these core building blocks. So my hope for you, go download the e-guide. It's going to help you out a bunch. That's going to allow you to know what to practice and have clarity and direction. Do this stuff every day, and you don't have to worry about whether or not you're practicing the right things. You can practice whatever else you want to on top of this, but make this your core practice routine that you do without fail every day. You're going to make progress quickly, even as a beginner, and you're going to have fun. So hey, it's been fun hanging out today. I hope this has been helpful to you and valuable. If I haven't said it enough already, go download the PDF e-guide. You got to have that in your arsenal. Have that on your music stand. Put it on your iPad. Print it out. Whatever you want to do. Use that as your guideline, your core practice routine. Do that every day, and I promise you're going to grow. All right. I hope this has been valuable to you. As always, know that you can do this. You can master the drums because you now have the tools in your arsenal. Stay non-glamorous. I'll see you on the next lesson.